Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to share with you the new OPI collection. It's the new Washington DC collection for fall for 2016. And it's inspired by Kerry Washington. She is the star of Scandal. I've never seen the show. I don't know anything about the show, but all the polishes go along with Washington DC. So let's go ahead and get into the collection. I think you're gonna like it. I love it. I love OPI. There's a lot of deep shades, which I think OPI does very well. Their darker shades are some of my favorites. Only a few stain, we'll talk about that as we go along. Most of them are two coaters, and it's a really great collection, so let's get into it. So the first one I have is Pale to the Chief, and this one is a beige nude with some iridescent silver shimmer in there. It's really pretty. It actually, I think, might be one of my favorite nudes from now on. I think it looks great with a tan. Not sure how it's going to look when I'm not as tan, but right now I really like this. If you have darker skin tones, I think this will look really good on you. Anyway, I love this one quite a bit.
And here's the first coat of Pale to the Chief, and it actually has pretty good coverage. You can't really see the shimmer very much, but it gives it a nice sheen. And I'll do two coats, and I think if you do a generous amount of polish, you can get it opaque in two coats, but you might need to do three. So that's two coats of Pale to the Chief.
The next one is Never Adola's Moment, and I probably just butchered that name. I was gonna look it up, but I forgot. Anyway, whatever. So it's this pretty yellow, and I love it. It's really a toned down mustard, but it almost has a little gray in it, and it's not too loud. I know in my swatches and my pictures it shows up quite a bit brighter than it really is, but it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous yellow. And I don't typically like yellow, but I think I'll like this one for fall especially. And let's get into the swatch for that one.
And here's the first coat of Never Adola's Moment, and the formula is nice and creamy and pretty thick. And that's one coat. I'm definitely going to need a second. The second coat I'm doing is pretty generous, and so it covered pretty good, but I think you might want to do three. That's pretty typical for yellow polishes, and that's two coats of Never Adola's Moment.
Then I have Freedom of Peach, a brown toned peach color. I wouldn't say it's a true peach. It maybe has a little more brown than a real peach, but it's such a pretty color. I think I'll like it a little better when I'm not as tan, just because I think it'll show up better and contrast better against my skin. So this is Freedom of Peach, and let's get into the swatches for this.
And here's the first coat of Freedom of Peach, and as you can see, it's kind of a brown toned peach. It's a really pretty color. And that's one coat, not quite opaque. I'm going to have to do a second coat. This is the second coat, and it's opaque in two coats. Great formula. And that's two coats of Freedom of Peach.
Okay, this is Inside the Isabella Way, and it's a caramel cream, and it's such a pretty brown. I love browns and greens, especially in fall, and I think I'll like this one. I got the minis of these, so the pictures might be a little weird, but I'm thinking there's a few that I'll probably pick up in the big ones when I can, but I could only purchase these little minis early. So anyway, let's get into the swatch for this.
And here's the first coat of Inside the Isabella Way, and it's almost opaque in one coat. It has great formula, but not quite. So I'm going to go ahead and do a second. And the formula is nice and creamy. Every formula I've tried so far has been so great. And that's two coats of Inside the Isabella Way. And this is a special edition polish, just so you know.
This is Squeaker of the House, and it's a pretty taupey brown color. I need to compare it to You Don't Know Jacques, because I think it's pretty close to that one, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'll have comparisons on my blog, hopefully in the next week or so, that you can check out to see how similar these are. There's a few in the collection that are pretty similar, but the formulas on most of these were great, so I really don't care. But anyway, this is Squeaker of the House, and let's get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Squeaker of the House. I love that name, by the way. It's kind of a mousy brown color, and it's same formula as those others. It's a little crelly, which I love, and so it's definitely going to need a second coat. But again, good coverage in the second coat, so only two coats needed, and that's Squeaker of the House.
This is Liv in the Gray, and I think that's her character name in the movie. But this is another special edition one. It's also the mini size that I have, and it's such a pretty dark gray, but almost has a hint of green in it, which I think sets it apart from other dark grays. It's just slightly different, and I love that about a polish, that you can look at it and think, oh, it's this color, no, maybe it's green, maybe it's gray. I love that polishes that make you question what they truly are. And I think this is one of those polishes. So let's get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Live in the Gray. It's definitely quite an opaque polish. I definitely think if you did a generous coat, you can get away with doing one, but I always do two because it looks better. But I did one for this video, so that's one of Live in the Gray. And this is a special edition polish as well.
And now I have Yank My Doodle, and this is such a pretty like terracotta brick red that's kind of browned out. I don't know, this one's hard to explain. I really like this one because I think it's pretty unique. It almost has a little bit of mauve in it as well, and it's a straight up cream. All of these are actually straight up creams except for that first nude polish that I showed. It has enough mauve in it that I thought, oh, maybe this is kind of a grandma mauve-y color, but I actually don't even mind the grandma ones unless I see a grandma wearing one and I'm like, oh, that is kind of a grandma color. But anyway, I still like the mauve colors, but I think this one has enough red in it that it's not quite like that, but it's cutting it close. So anyway, if you don't like the grandma mauves, but you want to try a mauve color, then I think this is a good one, if that makes any sense at all. It makes sense to me, so that's all that matters. Anyway, let's get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Yank My Doodle. It's another nice creamy polish that's pretty consistent. This also has a little bit of jelly formula. I'm definitely going to have to do a second coat. And actually the coverage is pretty good after a second coat, so I think it only needs 2 generous coats. And that's 2 coats of Yank My Doodle.
Okay, this is Susie, the First Lady of Nails. And I love greens. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I love greens, any green. This is such a pretty hunter green, and it leans a little blue. I have some hunter greens in my collection, so I'm curious to see how it compares to some of those, but the formula on this was so great. I loved it. I think most of the time I was swatching these, I was going, oh, I love these. They just swatch so nicely, and OPI just knows how to do dark polishes, right? They just do. And so this is such a pretty green, and it's definitely going to be one of my favorites. And let's get into the swatch for that one.
And here's the first coat of Susie, the First Lady of Nails, and it's such a pretty green. I love it. It's also kind of a corelli formula, which is definitely my favorite. It's kind of sheer on that first coat, and I'm going to definitely have to go in and do a second coat. And it also has great coverage after 2. And make sure to cap the top, and that's 2 coats of Susie, the First Lady of Nails.
Okay, this is Cherry Blossom. This is also like a special edition polish, and it's a deep plum shade. I'm pretty sure there's a dupe. I think Skating on Thin Iceland is probably very, very close to this. But again, I'll have comparisons up in about a week to let you guys see that. It's really nice though, and the formula is fantastic. So if you don't have a color like this, I'd go ahead and pick it up because, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's just a great polish. Let's get into the swatch for that.
And here's the first coat of Cherry Blossom. It's such a gorgeous deep plum color, and it's definitely going to need another coat. It's that same corelli formula, which is awesome, and it's opaque in 2 coats. And this is also a special edition polish. That's 2 coats of Cherry Blossom.
Okay, so the next 2 are OPI by popular vote and We the Female. And these, when you look at them in natural light, you think, oh my heck, they're like exactly the same. But as you look a little closer in more light, they are slightly different. And you can even see, I think, here in this video, how they look a little different. Sorry if you can hear my kids in the background, they're screaming downstairs. And I'm kind of ready for school to start. Even though I'm not ready for homework, but I need a few minutes to myself. Anyway, okay, so if they're screaming, I'm sorry. Okay, so they are different though. This darker one dries even darker when you get it on the nail, and it's so pretty. So I'll have a close-up of these so you guys can see that they're similar, but they're not the same. At first I was like, why did they do that? That's kind of dumb. but actually they're both really pretty polishes. And so this first one is OPI by popular vote. I love the name. It's a berry, but it's almost kind of washed out berry. It's not like a bright berry. So I'll do some comparisons on my blog for this one as well, because I think there's going to be some that are close. But the formula on this was amazing. It's kind of like a crelly, and it's so good. So let's get into the swatch for that one.
And here's the first coat of OPI by popular vote. Great formula. Probably the best formula so far in the collection. It's definitely going to need 2 coats, though I think you can maybe get away with 1. And this is the lighter of the berry colors, and that's 2 coats of OPI by popular vote.
Okay, so We the Female is the one that dries darker, and the formula on this was so good too. I just kept saying, oh, this polish is so good, so good. I love OPI. So check out the swatch for this one as well.
And here's the first coat of We the Female, and great formula. It just goes on like butter. You could probably get away with 1, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 coats, and it's, as you can see, it dries down darker, and so it's kind of a dark rich berry color. And that's 2 coats of We the Female.
And here's the other berry. This is Madam President, and it's really bright, almost raspberry shade, and I think it'll be fun for fall. It's kind of a good transition color. It's pretty bright, and I think it'd be pretty any time of the year. So I love this one, and I'm sure there'll be some that are similar. So again, watch for the comparisons, but let's get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Madam President. This also has pretty fantastic formula for such a bright polish. It goes on so smoothly, you could almost get away with 1, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 on this one. And it's a bright, fun color for fall. I really like this one, and that's 2 coats. I also think this one does have the potential to stain, so just be aware of that.
Okay, now getting into the deep, dark, richer shades. This is CIA equals color is awesome. And it's such a pretty teal. I love teals. I think I had a teal in my winter favorites last year, but the formula on this one compared to the one I had, I think it's C and D, is so much better. It's a little sheer, but it builds up quite a bit. And those sheer polishes kind of add depth, and they almost look jelly and squishy, and I love that about polishes. So that's this one, and let's get into the swatch for this.
And here's 1 coat of CIA. Color is awesome. I thought it would be opaque in 1 coat, but it's kind of that crelly formula once again, and so it's definitely going to need another one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second coat, and it has good coverage on the second coat, so I'm going to go with that. And that's 2 coats of CIA equals color is awesome.
And this next one is it's Top Secret, and this is such a deep, rich, dark brown, and it's kind of got that crelly formula as well, so it has a lot of depth, and it looks squishy and just perfect on your nails, and I think they last longer on your nails, at least in my opinion, or what I've noticed. And so the formula is fantastic. I thought it would be close to How Great Is Your Dane, but that one's definitely more creamy, and this one's more like jelly and a little translucent. I don't know how else to explain that, but let's get into the swatch for this one.
Here's the first coat of It's Top Secret, and it's such a gorgeous rich blue, and you can see what I was saying there about that jelly formula. It's just so rich, and there's a lot of depth, and I just love it. So it's opaque in 2 coats, and that's 2 coats.
Okay, so the other green I have is Stay Off the Lawn, and this one is such a pretty blue toned green. It's almost teal. It's kind of like a teal green instead of a teal blue, and it's so pretty. I think it's close to Amazon, Amazoth, and that's one of my favorites too. I think they're a little bit different. I think this might be a little more green than that one, and the formula is better, and I don't think it stained as much as that one, but staining to me isn't a huge issue. So anyway, there's just a certain way that you can take it off. You can just hold the cotton round or cotton ball on and swipe once, and then get a clean spot and swipe again, and then usually you can avoid staining when you're taking it off. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into the swatch for this one.
And here's the first coat of Stay Off the Lawn, and it's a pretty generous coat, so I can get away with just 1. So this is pretty much a 1 coat wonder, which is awesome, and that's 1 coat of Stay Off the Lawn. I also found a little bit of staining with this one as well.
Okay, whew, I think that was a lot to go through. So I like to always tell you guys what my favorites are from the collection. It was kind of hard because I really liked a lot of them, and I think I'll wear a lot of them, even though some are probably dupes, but it's always fun to have a new polish anyway. So I like We the Female, and I think I like the yellow and the 2 greens, and then the terracotta Yank My Doodle. So that's Susie, the First Lady of Nails, Stay Off the Lawn, Yank My Doodle, Never a Dull's Moment, and We Are the Female. Those are my favorites out of the collection, but really I'd wear any of them. So I hope you guys like this review. Let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Let me know if you're excited to see the comparisons. I'm going on vacation, but I'll have that up and going when I get back. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.